Hi guys, and welcome back to the Cornish Angler. Now it's a Saturday morning. I've just popped down for a couple of hours, hoping to catch a few tench before I go off and enjoy the rest of the weekend. So I parked up about 6 o'clock this morning and it was just about still pitch black. However, as I got down to the swim, started to set my rods up, the first light was upon me. So one of the perfect times to start tench fishing. So the first thing I did was made up some ground bait so I could throw a few balls out there and hopefully get some fish feeding in the area. At the moment I'm using this one. This is a Dynamite Big Fish ground bait. It's a green lipped mussel fish meal method mix. I've been using this for the last couple of sessions, and yeah, last session I got 2 fish. I've used it quite a lot last year as well. So it's one I quite like using. Also using some of this. This is just some amazing hemp that I made up at home. I made a really big batch of it. I basically put about a kilogram, maybe half a kilogram to a kilogram of bait in little freezer bags. So I've got little session packs. So I've got about a dozen of these in the freezer. I can just grab one out the night before, let it defrost overnight, and add that to my mix when I'm fishing. I'm using exactly the same tactics as I was on Tuesday evening. So left-hand rod that's got the camera on, it's got a flatbed method feeder and a short fluoro hit link with a hair-rigged yellow wafter. On the right rod, I've gone for the helicopter rig again. This time I'm using the little pink wafter rather than the yellow wafter, just to see if there's any difference. It might pick a fish up a bit quicker, it might not pick a fish up at all. Both rods are pretty close together, so it should give a good indication if the fish prefer one colour over the other. Now I'm only going to give it to about 9 o'clock this morning, possibly half 9 if the fishing's good. At the moment it's nice and dry. There was a lot of rain overnight. I've got a 2 to 3 hour spell, but yeah, there's no rain forecast at all. However, at about 9 to 10 o'clock it's going to start absolutely chucking it down. There's a bit of a storm coming through. The wind is just starting to pick up now. Still a southwesterly, so it's still pushing down from my left to right, down towards the dam end. But yeah, we're starting to get 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. That, along with the rain, is going to make it not very nice to sit in. I have to be home by 10 o'clock latest anyway. So yeah, if I don't get any fish by 9, I'll probably pack up then and save myself a soaking. So it's about 20 past 6 when I first got the rods out. I left them until 7 o'clock just because I thought that was going to be a really good chance to get a fish. However, it turned out neither rod were actually fishing. The right hand rod landed some weed, so obviously there's a few patches of weed starting to grow out there now. It's not as clear as it was even a few weeks ago. And on the left hand rod I had this mussel. So there are absolutely loads of these in here, which is obviously really good for the reservoir itself, natural filter feeders. But yeah, that was on the end of my hook. Obviously nothing can then pick that up. Not sure how long that was on there for. I'm not sure how it actually happens. Does it just land on this by coincidence and ends up hooking it? Are these coming along and trying to eat the hook bait? I don't actually know. Maybe you could put a comment below and let me know that. But yeah, they do get pretty big. They're pretty cool. But it did stop me from fishing. This one's actually got a bit of damage to it. You can see that. The shell's broken there. So I can actually see a bit of the clam in there. Don't know if that will repair itself potentially. I'll put him back anyway and hopefully he survives another day. So back for today, not a lot else to say really. So I'm fishing exactly the same way I was the other day. If you haven't done so already, go and check out the other video from the other night. That was quite a nice little session. I go into a lot more detail about the rigs and tactics I was using. Now though, I'm going to look tidy up, make sure I've got things away in case it does start raining. I'll leave the camera looking over the rods and hopefully we'll get a take sooner rather than later. Sorry if you can't hear me very well, getting really windy. I actually quite like these conditions for tench fishing and the swim. I think a lot of the fish get pushed down here. I've had a few really good mornings actually when it's been like this, and I've had 4 or 5 fish in about half an hour. So when they do come on the feed, oh, like that, they go for it. Well, that's a good sign. Maybe that's a fish. Well, probably was a fish. What I mean was it a liner or something grabbing the ground bait? That's one other thing I will say actually. I had some really good underwater footage the other night. So I had Tench trying to eat the feeder, trying to eat the ground bait on the feeder. Picked up a hook bait a few times, eating on the balls of ground bait I put in. That will all be on the other video, so go and check it out. And while I'm at it, don't forget to subscribe. I'm sitting out in the wind, potentially in the rain, trying to catch some fish, show you guys. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, much appreciated. Cheers and gone, let's go catch some fish. Right, into the first fish of the session. I think it's only a little fish. Hopefully you can see him on the camera. But it's definitely a tench. Although I have caught that before and it ended up being a carp, but yeah, it's a carp. This will be a nice little tench hopefully. And it's got the underwater camera on, and it's light. So hopefully we've picked up the take on camera. Right, fish is in the net. Got a really nice deep net, nice deep margin. Going to unhook him, keep the fish in the net, get the rod back out there. Right, so I put fresh hook bait on, check the hook was still nice and sharp, which it is. Reloaded the method feeder. Let's get it back out there. Make sure the line's not wrapped around the rod tip. And because I've got that wind blowing from left to right, it wants to create a bow in the line, so important to get your rod tip down straight away. What I find is because it's quite deep out there, as the camera and the method feeder bait go down, it kind of pulls the line down with it, straightens it out, and helps to prevent that bow. But I still keep my rod tip under the water and just slowly try to straighten that line out as much as I can. Whilst I'm at it, I'll redo this rod as well. Because both times now it's come back with weed on it. I'm only fishing it slightly to the right of where the other rod is, nice and clear. So there's obviously just a little bank of weed there I'm hitting. So again, just sink my rod tip under as soon as it's landed. Try and get that line nice and straight. Right, a couple of balls of ground bait. I don't want to put too much in, but they're not going to pick up my hook bait. Well, the chances are less likely they're going to pick up my hook bait by having too many food items out there, but just enough attraction to keep them grubbing around in the area. So each ball of ground bait, we'll just have a few pieces of maize, a few bits of hemp in there, a couple of pellets, but the bulk of it is the ground bait mixture itself. Right, let's leave that there and go have a look at this fish. Right, not the biggest fish, but I think this is one for the future. It's got a really nice set of shoulders on her. I say her, calm down, because she's got nice little front pectoral fins here, which I'm pretty sure that's the female. If they were nice and big, that would be a male. Oh, they're nice. Alright, alright. You should have thought a bit more in the water, shouldn't you? Come. Getting your slime out, there we go. Lovely big front dorsal, or top dorsal fin though. Lovely condition, just starting to fatten up a little bit. So obviously just starting to get ready to spawn, start that process at least. Nice big paddle tail, and then your traditional teddy bear eye. Lovely example of the fish in here. Thank you very much. We'll get you back. Rods are back out there. Hopefully we can get 1 or 2 more of these before I go home. It's about 7:30. It's got an hour and a half left. Well, hour and a half to 2 hours left, I should say. Plenty of time to get a few more bites. Right, thank you very much. Well, that was a nice way to start the session. Had to wait only about an hour and the first fish on the bank. So that was on the left-hand rod. So that was with the inline method feeder and a dumbbell wafter that I trimmed down to about 7mm. I actually thought it was going to be a bream the way the take went. Usually a tench, you get a few beeps and it will rip off. Whereas this, I was getting a few beeps forward and it would drop back, go forward, drop back. Kind of like how a bream would usually take the hook bait. So yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. When I picked up the rod, felt a few thuds, and I'm pretty sure it was a tench. And so it proved to be. So the fish are about 4.5, 5 pounds. Nice little female. Just looked like she's starting to fatten up a little bit, ready to start spawning in a few months' time. So hopefully those fish are packing on that last little bit of weight, ready for me to catch, give me that good chance of getting that double-figure fish before the season ends for me. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but I was actually supposed to be fishing with Nate this morning. He didn't get up in time, but he's just rang me literally as I put that fish back to say he's on his way. So he'll get an hour or 2 of fishing time in before we have to go home. So he's on his way. He actually pre-baited a different swim a little bit further up, so a little bit further up behind me. He fished it the other day, had a couple of the bream and some nice roach. So we might even end up moving up there for the last hour. But saying that, I just had another couple of beeps on the left-hand rod again. So I am pretty confident there's a few more tench around. So yeah, we have to have a little discussion, chat about it and see what we want to do. I'm quite happy doing whatever. I've had a fish now, so I'll leave it up to him really to make that choice. So yeah, we'll wait for him to arrive, have a little bit of breakfast, sit back and hopefully that rod will go again. Or maybe the other rod will go this time, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. So when Nate did finally arrive, we decided to head straight to the other spot that it pre-baited. Nate was planning on fishing that swim anyway on the following Tuesday, so he thought it'd be a good opportunity to see if there are any fish in the area and to use the underwater camera to check out the swim in a bit more detail. But in hindsight, I kind of wish we stayed in the first swim. We had absolutely no action on the rods, and looking back at the camera footage later on, there were no fish in the area at all. I feel like if we stayed in that first swim, there's a good chance we would have got another tench or 2. However, it was good at least to check out another spot. As it turned out, it was a bit weedier than the swim we were fishing in. The silt was just as bad, if not even worse, very soft and very deep. Nate did end up fishing it on the following Tuesday, but again he had absolutely no action at all, not even a beep on the rod. So to be honest, I don't think I'm going to spend any more time in that area. There's a few more swims further up which command a lot more of the central water of the reservoir that I'm going to give a go in a few weeks' time. And so that brings an end to this video. Very pleased to get that tench early on. It seems like I've got this spot working pretty well for me now, and by pre-baiting there seems to be a few tench checking out the area regularly. The pre-baiting definitely seems key on this venue. When I haven't done it, I haven't caught anything, but when I have pre-baited, I've caught at least 1 tench, sometimes 2 or 3. It does take some effort, it does take some dedication, but If it's the difference between catching and not catching, for me, it's a no-brainer. But what do you guys think? I'd be interested to know if you guys pre-bait, or do you rock up to your venue and just use your watercraft to try and locate the fish? Drop a comment below, I'll be interested to see your opinions. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully, I'll catch you again soon.